Hello, everyone. Welcome to the English podcast. We are talking about how to become a fluent in English.
Okay, wow. Straight to the point.
No messing around. It's a pretty strong statement, isn't it? It tells you right away this isn't just going to be a general chat about English. It's promising a how-to.
And that phrase, how to become fluent, that cuts through a lot of the usual noise.
How so?
Well, it signals that the creators understand a big problem for learners. Just tons of information, no clear path, information overload.
Right. You bounce between apps, websites, books.
Exactly. And it's easy to feel like you're spinning your wheels, not really getting anywhere consistently.
Yeah.
So this guide, just by saying how to, implies it's offering a way out of that, a system.
A systematic solution. So it's
Yeah.
pushing towards active learning, not just passive listening or reading. Seems like it. By promising a how-to, it really suggests a focus on things you can actually do. Actionable steps.
So based on that promise,
Yeah.
even without seeing the whole guide, what kind of strategies or core ideas would you guess it might lean into?
Well, if you're promising how to become fluent, you're almost certainly hinting at things like consistency,
Yeah.
showing up regularly,
Makes sense.
and deliberate practice, not just random conversation, but focused effort on specific skills, plus probably breaking down that huge goal, fluency, into smaller, more manageable pieces.
Yeah, fluency isn't just one thing.
Not at all. It's speaking, it's listening deeply, it's getting feedback, even, learning to be okay with making mistakes. That's
Yeah.
crucial. It's about targeted effort, not just putting in hours vaguely.
So the guide's very existence points towards needing that kind of framework.
I think so.
And that word in the title, mastering, that feels important too. It's not learning English fluency or getting better, it's mastering.
Absolutely. That's a key shift.
What's the difference psychologically for you as a learner if you're aiming for mastery versus just, say, trying to get by?
Oh, it's huge. Mastery implies a real commitment, right? It suggests pushing through those inevitable plateaus where you feel stuck.
We've all been there.
Totally. And it means understanding that fluency isn't really a final destination you reach, but more like a continuous process of getting better, refining.
So thinking in the language, expressing complex stuff.
Exactly. Connecting culturally, not just translating in your head. And having a guide, something dedicated like this, can act like a companion through that. It reinforces that mastery mindset, helps you stick with it when it gets tough, instead of just giving up.
Turns it from a lonely struggle into more of a guided journey.
Yeah, a guided expedition, you could say.
Okay, so wrapping up just this initial look, even from these few words, the title and the opening line, the big takeaway seems to be that getting fluent in English isn't accidental.
Definitely not.
It's not about luck or just absorbing stuff passively. It really requires a deliberate, structured approach. Something consistent that focuses on active work and clear steps.
And thinking about that more broadly for a second, consider how having that kind of roadmap, that systematic approach, changes things for any complex skill you want to learn, not just language.
Good point.
So the final thought for you listening is, how does having a defined process, a how-to guide, actually accelerate your journey? How does it shift you from just taking in information to really applying it, internalizing it, and, ultimately mastering it? It's not just about learning more stuff. It's about learning smarter, isn't it? We've all been there, haven't we? Looking at this big goal, English fluency, especially if you're not living right in London or New York, and you start wondering, is this really truly possible for me?
Oh, absolutely.
It often feels like you need to physically pack up and move, to unlock it.
Yeah, but that's the myth, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is absolutely 100% achievable. Doesn't matter where you are in the world.
Really?
Yeah, the research, all the sources we looked at, they're clear. Fluency isn't about your postcode. It's much more about mindset, building those daily habits and, surrounding yourself with English constantly.
Okay.
So this deep dive, it's basically your practical roadmap. We've
Yeah.
pulled together the steps from all the material, showing you exactly how you can build that fluency right from home.
That's really empowering because it flips it, right? From,
Yeah.
oh, I can't because of where I live to, okay, what can I do?
Exactly. It's about agency.
I'm really keen to unpack these strategies, the practical stuff our listeners can actually use. Okay, so let's kick things off. The first big thing the experts always seem to hammer home is this idea of creating your own English world. It's more than just, studying now and then. It's about weaving English into your everyday life, even if you're just at home.
Exactly. And the key thing here, as the studies show, it's not just passive listening. It's making English a constant, sort of low-effort background presence.
Right.
So yeah, watch English movies, listen to songs, podcasts, that's great. But then push it a bit, change your phone language to English.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one.
And it sounds small, but it's not just a minor tweak. It's this continuous, almost subconscious interaction. It can actually boost your vocabulary recall, even how you problem solve in English, just because you're constantly seeing and processing stuff through that lens.
Huh. Interesting.
And think about social media, too. Follow English speakers, English learning pages, even just funny English meme pages, anything to keep that English hum going in your life.
So it's less about physically moving and more about bringing that English environment to you virtually.
Precisely.
And it sounds like those little constant nudges, they can actually rewire things over time.
They really can. It's about consistent exposure.
Okay, so that passive immersion, that's crucial. But we all know eventually you have to actually, speak.
The active part.
Which brings us to a really critical point from our sources.
Mm.
You absolutely have to speak every single day.
Yes. This is huge.
And right away, for so many people, that just brings up this massive fear, the fear of making mistakes.
Oh, completely natural. That fear is real. But here's like a liberating thought from the research.
Yeah.
Mistakes aren't failures. Think of them as feedback.
Feedback.
Yeah, they're actual proof that you're trying, that you're pushing your boundaries. Honestly, nobody gets fluent without stumbling. The biggest mistake, letting that fear keep you quiet.
Okay.
So even if it's just talking to yourself, narrating your day while you cook, okay, now I'm chopping the onions.
Yeah.
Or thinking out loud about your shopping list while you walk.
Right.
That consistent practice of producing the language, even if it's imperfect, that's what builds the pathways in your brain for speaking more easily later. It builds confidence, bit by bit.
That's a great way to frame it, mistakes as proof of progress, not failure. But let's be honest, talking to yourself is one thing. Talking to another actual human, that can feel like a huge jump. Especially if, your friends and family all speak your native language. How do you find people to practice with?
Yeah, that's a common hurdle. But the good news is there are more options now than ever before. The sources point to quite a few things.
Like what?
Well, there are local English-speaking clubs. You might find them advertised online or in community centers. Then there are tons of online groups, like dedicated WhatsApp or Telegram communities where people just get together to practice.
Okay.
Language exchange apps are everywhere now, too. Or you could even find an online tutor, maybe just for conversation practice. And here's a key thing. You don't need to find a native speaker from the UK or the US.
Right. That's important.
It really is. The main goal is just getting regular speaking practice. Finding another learner who's also motivated, that can be incredibly helpful. You're kind of in it together, which makes it feel less scary.
Yeah, that shared journey idea makes sense. Okay, another thing I hear a lot, learners get really bogged down thinking they need this massive vocabulary, like full of really complex words right from day one.
Oh, yes, a classic trap.
Which leads to this next insight. Focus on everyday practical words, not the fancy, obscure stuff.
Absolutely. This is one of the biggest pitfalls the sources mention. It's like trying to, climb Mount Everest before you can walk around the block.
Ah, yeah.
Forget trying to shoehorn words like pulchritudinous or ephemeral into your sentences. Real-world fluency isn't about showing off vocabulary. It's about communicating clearly and comfortably.
Right, getting your point across.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So prioritize those core words you use constantly. Buy, eat, work, help, visit, clean, go, come. Simple stuff.
The basics.
Yeah. The aim is to build simple, natural sentences first. Like, I went to the market today. Or, I'm feeling a bit tired. Real fluency comes from stringing those words together easily to talk about your actual life.
Okay, so you learn these practical words, but how do you actually make them stick? How do you move them from just knowing them to actually using them without thinking?
Okay, yeah. There's a really critical habit here. And it's simple. When you learn a new word, use it immediately.
Immediately.
Yes, like in the very next sentence you say, or write, if you can. It sounds basic, but it's a powerful cognitive trick. The act of retrieving and then producing that new word in context, it massively strengthens the connection in your brain. It helps lock it in.
Okay, use it or lose it, basically.
Pretty much. And then, for pronunciation and sounding more natural, there's this technique the research really highlights called shadowing.
Shadowing, what's that?
So you listen to some English audio, could be a podcast, a bit of a movie, a speech, whatever. You listen to a sentence or a short phrase, you pause the audio, and then you immediately repeat it out loud. But you try to copy everything. The speaker's exact tone, the rhythm, the speed, the intonation.
Ah, like mimicking.
Exactly like mimicking. Shadowing isn't just about getting the sounds right, although it helps with that. It's amazing for picking up the natural melody and rhythm of English. Things often overlooked, but super important for sounding fluent and reducing that choppy feeling. It trains your mouth and brain to work together in that English way.
That sounds really effective, actually. Okay, let's tackle the big one. The elephant in the room for so many learners. Grammar.
Mm-hmm. The G word.
Yeah. This is where the fun often just dies and people get scared and stop speaking. What's the more liberating take on grammar from the sources?
It is liberating, actually. The main message is communication first, perfect grammar later, especially at the beginning.
Okay.
Think about how little kids learn their first language. They don't sit down with grammar books.
Right.
They communicate, they make mistakes, they get understood, they
Wow.
adjust. Your grammar will improve naturally over time through all that listening, reading, and yes, speaking, even with mistakes. So don't feel like you have to memorize every single verb tense before you start.
Right. Don't wait for perfection.
Exactly. Get comfortable using the present tense first. Really nail that. Then, slowly, as you feel more confident, start layering in the past, the future, and crucially, accept those mistakes. Be proud of them even.
Proud of mistakes.
Yeah, because they're proof you're learning. They're data points for your brain. Honestly, even native speakers make grammar mistakes all the time. Focus on getting your message across clearly. The grammatical polish. That will come with practice and exposure.
That's a huge weight off, I imagine, for many people. Okay, let's dig into a couple more techniques that can really accelerate things. First, reading out loud. This isn't just about understanding the text, is it?
Not at all. It's much more active than just reading silently.
Right.
When you read English stuff out loud, books, articles, even just, posts online, you're engaging multiple senses. Well, you're seeing the words, obviously, but you're also hearing yourself say them, and you're physically making the sounds with your mouth and tongue. It's like a workout for your English-speaking muscles.
Exercising your tongue and brain for English. I like that.
Exactly. That multi-sensory engagement creates much stronger pathways in your brain than just passive reading.
Right.
It really helps with muscle memory for speaking and making your speech flow more naturally.
Okay, that makes sense. And then there's this one, which might sound a bit advanced, but the sources say it's transformative thinking in English. How on earth do you start doing that?
It is a game changer.
Right.
And it's more accessible than it sounds. You start small, really small.
Right.
Like, just narrate your simple, everyday actions to yourself, but in English, inside your head. You're walking to the shop.
Yeah.
Think, okay, I am walking to the shop now. The weather is nice. I need to buy milk.
So internal monologue.
Exactly. Eating breakfast. Think, this coffee is good. What am I doing after this? This kind of continuous, low-stakes internal chatter in English gradually starts to bypass the need to translate from your native language first.
Ah, I see.
It trains your brain to default to English for thinking, and that dramatically speeds up your ability to respond and speak spontaneously when you're in an actual conversation. Less hesitation.
That makes a lot of sense, cutting out the middleman, the translation step. Okay, so ultimately, all these specific tactics, they seem to rely on two big, overarching ideas that kept coming up: consistency and, maybe surprisingly, enjoyment.
Oh, absolutely. They're not just nice-to-haves. They are fundamental. The twin engines, really.
Twin engines, okay.
Yeah, consistency first, even just 15 or 20 minutes. Every single day.
Yeah.
If you apply these things consistently, the results are amazing. It's like, compound interest for your language skills.
Small amounts add up.
They really do. And making it fun? That's not optional. It's essential. The more you actually enjoy the process, the more motivated you'll be, naturally, and the faster you'll learn. It's just how our brains work.
So how do you make it fun?
Watch English comedy shows that genuinely make you laugh.
Yeah.
Listen to English songs you actually love and want to sing along to. Play video games in English. Have lighthearted chats with friends in English if you can. If it feels like play, not work, your brain just absorbs it so much better. Don't stress about it. Just, enjoy the journey.
So wrapping up this deep dive then, the big message seems clear. Fluency isn't some far-off dream only for people who move abroad or who never make mistakes.
Not at all.
It's really about consistent, smart progress, and it's totally within reach right where you are now.
That's exactly right. If there's one core takeaway from all the material, it's this. Practice makes progress, not perfection.
Progress, not perfection. I like that.
Yeah. So by actually embracing these steps we've talked about, by starting now, speaking more even to yourself, and finding the fun in it, your fluency will grow. It'll happen naturally, confidently. You just need to keep at it and not give up.
Okay, so here's a final thought, maybe a challenge for you listening right now. Which one? Which single simple step from everything we've discussed, maybe it's just changing your phone language today, maybe it's trying to think just one thought in English on your way home, or deciding you're going to make your next mistake proudly, which one can you start, like, today? Just pick one thing to kickstart that progress. Be patient with yourself. Definitely be